Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is going to be our next episode of our championship score predictions, and we now only have 2 games left in this championship season. I don't know what you guys think about it, but to me, this season has just absolutely flown by, and to only have 2 games left, that's pretty baffling to me. But despite that, we still have loads to play for in these 2 remaining games, and as well as that, we also had some midweek action going on in the championship as well. We saw Derby go ahead and put 3 goals past Cardiff as they beat them 3-1 at home to really, give Cardiff's automatic promotion hopes a bit of a blow. And as well as that, we saw Nottingham Forest take down Barnsley by 3-0. That really doesn't do Barnsley any favours at the bottom of the championship. So if you guys haven't seen this series before, of course, this is the series where I give you guys my championship score predictions for what I think will happen in each game going on in the championship. FIFA 18, of course, also makes their score predictions, but what I'm really interested to know is what you guys have to say. So in the description down below, I will leave all the fixtures that are taking place this weekend. Then you guys can easily go ahead and make your predictions, and then if you do successfully manage to get any of them right, I will include your comment at the start of the next video. So we've got some really juicy games coming up this weekend, guys, which I'm very interested to see what you guys are predicting. So without further ado, let's hop into them. And our first game to go ahead and predict is taking place tonight, guys. That sees Fulham going up against Sunderland, and this could be an absolute bloodbath of a game if Sunderland aren't careful in this one, of course. We've already seen Sunderland relegated to League One. That happened last week with their loss against Burton Albion. Going up against this Fulham side who are currently unbeaten in their last 22 matches, which is absolutely ridiculous. Fulham in this one, they'll be hoping to pile the pressure on Cardiff going into Saturday's games as well. Of course, Fulham currently sat 3rd in the championship, just 1 point behind Cardiff, and with Cardiff really stuttering at the moment, Fulham have a brilliant opportunity to go ahead and really pile the pressure on them, and I honestly think they could do it. This Fulham side went ahead and put 3 goals past the Millwall side, who previous to that were looking like they had one of the best defences in the championship, so God knows what they could do to this Sunderland team. They could absolutely decimate them. The one thing you could say about Sunderland, though, is as they have already been relegated, maybe that will take a bit of the pressure off the players, and going forward, really, they could play with a bit more freedom, perhaps. But realistically, Mitrovic is certainly going to be up for this game, being a loanee from Newcastle, and I'm going to go ahead and predict Fulham to walk away with a very comfortable 4-0 home victory. I'm interested to see what you guys predict for that one, but FIFA's going to say it'll just be 1-0 Fulham. The next game is actually a very interesting one as well. We see Aston Villa going up against Derby County. Now, it wasn't too long ago since we had really a lot of Derby fans thinking that their season was over, really. They were in a really bad run of form, but that midweek result, that 3-1 home victory against Cardiff, really should have revitalised these players. They look buzzing at the end of that game, and if they can carry that momentum into this game with Aston Villa, they've still got a terrific chance, of course. They're currently sat 6th in the championship with quite a few sides just below them on a couple of points, but even so, Derby are in a very good position after that midweek victory. Going up against Aston Villa, though, not going to be an easy game, of course. Aston Villa so far this season in quite a few of the big games actually have stepped up to the occasion, and with Derby being a side who they could meet in the playoffs, this is going to be a very interesting tactical battle, really, between these 2 sides going up against each other. Aston Villa, they should be in full confidence. They've gone ahead and won their last 3 games in the championship, playing some decent football along the way. But for this one, I actually see it heading towards a draw, funnily enough. I'm going to go ahead and predict this one to finish as a 1-1, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be 1-0 Derby. The next game sees Barnsley going up against Brentford in what is really a season-defining game for both sides, really. Brentford's still got an outside chance of sneaking into the playoffs. They're currently 3 points behind Derby County, and if Brentford go ahead and win this match and Derby lose this weekend, Brentford will be put right in pole position going into the last game of the season. So they've still got everything to play for. Going up against this Barnsley side, still sat in the relegation zone. They're currently 2 points off safety with obviously 2 games to go. That game in midweek was just an absolute disaster for Barnsley. They've had this game in hand on the teams above them for quite a while now, and really they were banking on getting at least something from that game, but to be beaten 3-0 by Nottingham Forest in the fashion that they were, going going into this one, their confidence will have taken a massive hit, and with how good Brentford have looked lately going forward, and with these individual mistakes from Barnsley's defenders seeping back into their game, you know, that Brentford attack really could have a field day in this one. Overall, I think that Brentford's quality may actually shine through, and that could put the final nail in Barnsley's coffin. So for this one, I'm going to back Brentford for a 2-1 away victory, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be 1-0 Barnsley. And then what could be the biggest game going on this weekend is between Burton Albion and Bolton Wanderers. This is a monumental match at the bottom of the Championship. Currently, Burton are 2 points behind Bolton, so of course if Burton win this match, they'll actually go above Bolton and put them into the relegation zone going into the final day of the season. So this game just has so much riding on it, and you know, only last week Burton Albion were just 5 minutes away from relegation to League One, but they turned that game around against Sunderland to go ahead and relegate them, and they've really given themselves a chance going into these final two games. Burton lately, you know, looking over the form of these two sides, you've got to say that Burton are actually in the better form at the moment. They've gone ahead and won their last 2 games. They've only lost 1 of their last 5 as well. Contrast that to Bolton, who have lost 4 of their last 5 games in the Championship. This game, I don't personally see it being a very high score. I think as the stakes are so high in this game, both defences are going to be really dropping deep for this one, as no one's going to want to give anything away from this game. But with Burton Albion's experience of playing other sides at the bottom of the Championship, you know, getting that victory over Sunderland, this could be one of the greatest escapes that we've seen in the Championship over the last few years, really, if Burton do manage to survive. And for this game, I'm actually going to back Burton Albion for a 1-0 home victory. That game, I'm very interested to see the outcome. I'll say 1-0 Burton, and FIFA's going to agree with me. And this game then sees Hull City going up against Cardiff. And Cardiff at the moment, you know, it has to be said, their destiny is still in their own hands. They're still currently a point above Fulham in the Championship, but with the way they're playing at the moment, you know, there's going to be a lot of nervy Cardiff fans, that's for sure. And going up against Hull, with the way they're playing at the moment, this is not going to be an easy game. You know, one thing that we've said about Cardiff for the majority of the season really is their defence can be heavily relied on, you know, to be keeping clean sheets and just to be grinding them out, but that's not really been the case lately. And going up against a side like Hull, who of course scored 5 goals in their last game, that's not going to be an easy feat. You know, Hull's forward 3 at the moment are in tremendous form with scoring goals, and the amount of pace that they have on the break, I'm not sure how Cardiff are actually going to approach this. You know, watching Cardiff play, they just don't look the same side that they did a couple of weeks ago. You know, the confidence doesn't seem to be there anymore, that same drive and desire. You know, a lot of their plays just turn very sloppy lately, and for this game, I actually think it could end as a 2-2 draw, so I'm going to put my neck on the line and say we'll end 2-2. FIFA's going to back a 0-0 draw. The next game is taking place between Norwich and Leeds United in the race for 12th place in the Championship. Currently both these two sides are drawn on 57 points, so really they're just playing for a bit of pride really to see who can finish high as possible this season in the Championship. Both been two very inconsistent sides, of course. Norwich in their last game went ahead and drew 0-0 with my side, Preston North End. Defensively, they look pretty solid for that one, but going forward, they weren't really doing much. You know, I think that in this game, Daniel Farke's just going to let their attacking players have a bit more freedom, really. You know, they've got nothing else to play for, so both sides may as well go and do that. But similar story for Paul Heckingbottom at Leeds as well. Been quite an inconsistent team this season, of course. They went ahead and won their last game against Barnsley in what was a pretty big result for them, really. But for this one, I'm going to go ahead and back it to finish as a 1-1 draw. I can see these two sides cancelling each other out, so I'll say 1-1. FIFA will say 1-0 Norwich. And this game then sees Nottingham Forest going up against Bristol City. Now, Bristol City, technically, they still do have a chance of the playoffs. They are currently 5 points off Derby County, so really that would require Derby to lose both their games this season and for Bristol City to go ahead and win both their games. So that, you know, really that's probably not going to happen, but even so, they still do have something to play for realistically, so you'd expect them to be going to Nottingham Forest with, you know, a bit of desire for this game. Really, they're not going to want to let their standards slip. In their last game, that was a 5-5 thriller. I can't quite see there being as many goals in this game, but with Nottingham Forest going ahead and putting in a very convincing display in midweek, who knows, we could see a repeat of that. But I feel like with Bristol City having a bit more to play for, they should be up for this, but even so, I actually see this one heading towards a 2-2 draw. draw. FIFA's going to say it'll be 1-0 Bristol City. The next game sees QPR going up against Birmingham. Birmingham still having something to play for. Currently they are 5 points off relegation, so a win in this game would actually see them safe going into the last game of the season. And Birmingham on the last day have Fulham to play, so I know that Birmingham are definitely going to want to get the job done in this one, as nothing's a guarantee playing against Fulham at the moment. But going up against this QPR side, they've of course lost their last 2 games. Ian Holloway has been sort of experimenting with that side lately. You know, they've not been putting in completely their first team, which they would have maybe a couple of weeks ago. Going up against this Birmingham side though, I mean lately they've been just a revitalised side under Gary Monk. One player who I've been really impressed by since Gary Monk has come in is that of Jota. You know, we're seeing more of the player he was at Brentford last season in this Birmingham side now. You know, every attack that Birmingham seems to go on, it's started by Jota. He's that catalyst for them going forward, and in this game I'm actually going to fancy them for a 2-1 away victory. So I'll say 2-1 Birmingham, FIFA same, a 0-0 draw. Reading are currently in the same situation as Birmingham as well. One more win for them will see them safe this season, and they've got a pretty good opportunity to go ahead and do that going up against Ipswich Town, of course. Ipswich in their last game had a bit of a disaster against Aston Villa, and you never really know what you're going to get from that side. Since Paul Clement has come into Reading, there's been a lot more stability around the club really since Jaap Stam was there. You know, there was a lot of uncertainty while he was at the club, and for this game I see it being a relatively low scoring game actually. A lot of them with Ipswich this season have been just that, and I do fancy Reading to get the job done in this one though, and to ensure their safety for next season. So I'm going to go ahead and back Reading for a 1-0 home victory, whereas FIFA same, it'll be 2-0 Reading. Our next game then sees Sheffield United going up against my club Preston North End, and both sides still do technically, mathematically have a chance of getting into the playoffs. Currently Sheffield United are 5 points off the playoffs and Preston 4, but realistically I don't see it happening for either club, and that's so frustrating really, especially looking over recent results for both sides. We've both dropped points in very winnable games, so looking back on it now, it's just so frustrating, and you ask that question, what if? But going into this game, I see it being quite an open game really. Both attacks should be going for it, as a point would rule either side out of making the playoffs this season. So to even stand a slimmer of a chance of reaching the playoffs come the end of the season, both sides need to be going ahead and winning this game, and for that reason I actually see it heading towards a draw. It's just the luck of our 2 seasons really. So for this game I'm going to go ahead and back it to finish as a 1-1 draw, whereas FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Preston. Our next game then sees Wolves going up against Sheffield Wednesday. Wolves recently have just been looking extremely ruthless in attack, so Sheffield Wednesday definitely going to have to watch out for this one. Not the easiest of customers though at the moment, of course, with the return of Fernando Forestieri especially. Sheffield Wednesday have looked a new side really than they did a couple of months ago, where they had pretty much their whole first team out injured. So with a lot of returning players for them at the moment, I think they could actually give Wolves a bit of a good game in this one. I see it being quite an open game, quite an expansive game, as both sides will look to be playing some quite attractive football really. But Wolves had the chance in this one, of course. They've already got the league wrapped up, they've already gone ahead and won it, but Wolves, there's going to be that feel-good atmosphere around the club, of course. They'll be lifting the trophy at the end of this game, so they're not going to be wanting to lift the trophy after a defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, are they really? So despite it being quite a hard game, I do see Wolves pulling through in this one, and I'm going to back them for a 3-1 home victory. FIFA same, it'll be a 2-0 Wolves. And then as the evening kickoff on Saturday, we've got a huge game in the race for the playoffs, which sees Middlesbrough going up against Millwall. Now, a victory in this game would actually secure Middlesbrough's place in the playoffs for the Championship this season, but it's not going to be an easy task going up against Millwall. I believe before they of course went ahead and lost to Fulham last week, I think their unbeaten run was 17 matches, so this Millwall side definitely can't be taken for granted really. But it'll be interesting to see the effect that that 3-0 defeat to Fulham had actually on this Millwall team. It'd be interesting to see how they go ahead and react to that. Going up against this Middlesbrough side, they've of course come through a lot of big games this season. A lot of the games where they played the sides around them, they've gone ahead and put in a decent performance really. Of course, that was seen in their last game, picking up a 2-1 away victory against Derby County. You know, Tony Pulis is that sort of manager. I see this being quite a physical battle actually, and there's a lot at stake for this one. If Millwall can go ahead and, you know, snatch that away victory, if Derby drop points as well, that will put Millwall in a really good position going into the final weekend. But I've just got a gut feeling that Middlesbrough may pull through in this one. So for this game, I'm narrowly just going to go ahead and predict Middlesbrough to walk away with a 2-1 home victory. And FIFA's going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw. So guys, there you have it. That will wrap it up for this episode of my Championship score predictions. So do you guys agree with my predictions? Let me know in the comments down below. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you have enjoyed, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Like I said, guys, we've only got 2 matches left of this championship season, so make sure you do subscribe for some regular championship content. It is always massively appreciated. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.